All right. So yeah, just like I was saying, guys, this is not an isolated event. This happens all the time. I saw in the chat, Pastor Zippy, you mentioned that this potentially happened to you. Do you mind sharing what happened to you?
Yes, I literally received a text from the normal number that I use for Chase Bank, and I was
Mm.
like, "Have you authorized this transaction?" And because it's the same number that I use all the time, like when they want to confirm my PIN or anything, I said no. And the next thing, the $356 had come out of my
Mm.
account, and probably it could have been more. It's only that I didn't have a lot of money in the account at that time. So
Uh-huh.
I called Chase Bank and I asked them, "Hey, I see this transaction that I did not authorize." Of course, we went through the processes. They said I filed a report with them. They will investigate from their fraud department. And then they said that the money was withdrawn from Kentucky through Western Union. And I said, I did not authorize anything from Western Union. I don't live in Kentucky. And they made it a little bit difficult for me. So I ended up just, it became such a difficult process when they started sending me to the FBI and asking me for all those information. I think I just got tired and I let it go. But
Yeah.
it was real. I did not authorize anything. But the sad thing is that it's the same text number that Chase Bank has always used to send me messages. So
Um,
I wouldn't have known that it was a fraudster. So it
That is
happens.
crazy. That is wild. Yeah, that's just unbelievable. Like, did you got
Yeah.
the same or a similar text message like that? Yeah, this isn't new. I'm sure all of us have received this. I have even been a victim of different little scams myself, and I think that I'm pretty well educated in this area, but sometimes like they just look real, and maybe you're busy and you see a text or you get an email and you think, oh, that looks legitimate, and you just spring into action, right? And that's what they want. They want you to act quickly without thinking. That's what they try to do is create a lot of pressure. It's called social engineering, where
Mhm.
they make up scenarios to create pressure to get you to act without thinking correctly, right? And that's one of the things we're going to actually talk about throughout the class today is like, how do you recognize that you're potentially about to be scammed, and how do you slow down and try to avoid, losing that money? So this is our agenda for today. We're going to talk about financial fraud, all the different kind of flavors of financial fraud that are out there. There's a bunch of them out there, that is for sure. We're going to talk about phishing. So I know a lot of you guys know what phishing is, right? With an F, when you throw, like a worm overboard and you try to catch a fish. So we're going to talk about a flavor of that, like called pH phishing, and that is when people text or email a lot of people, hoping that somebody bites on their scam message and that they can get some money or some information out of that person. And by the way, information is almost just as valuable as money these days. If they can have your information, your social security number, your date of birth, that can even sometimes be more valuable than money, because that gives them enough information to potentially open up bank accounts in your name or open up some other kind of account in your name, maybe your credit card. But now the credit card is going to them, and then they can spend up the money on it, and you do not authorize that, but they have enough information to do that. So your information is just as important as your bank account and your actual credit card. So I do want to make emphasis on that today. And then we'll talk about what to do if you were targeted, and then how to proactively prevent being targeted, so that they don't even get your information in the first place. All right, so let's talk about a couple things that you can do to avoid financial fraud. I do want this to be a interactive class. So if anyone has a story, you can just raise your hand or put something in the chat. I may ask you to speak up and share with us your story, but I really want this to be a class where you guys share your experience, because I'm sure that all of you here have had experience in this realm in some way or another. So one of the things I want to start off with is, of course, I know all of you have seen this. Beware of random text messages or emails requesting urgent action. So that's one of the ways you can avoid it. This is probably the most common one. I would beg to say there's what, 10 or 15 people on this call today. probably half of you received a random text message today. I would say every other day at a minimum, I get a random text message, and it normally starts with "Hi" or "How's your day going?" What's your name? Do you remember me? It starts with something because they're trying to create conversation because they want you to respond. And once you respond, then that's kind of the hook, and then they kind of try to reel you in from there. Okay, so that's why we call it phishing with a PH. So those random text messages and those random emails, they don't expect that probably 98% of the people who get them are going to do anything with them. But the 2%, if you catch 2 out of 100, that adds up for them very quickly. And realize that normally if they're sending those emails, they're probably sending them to hundreds, if not thousands of people, or even tens of thousands of people at the same time, because they're using computers to send mass and bulk text messages and emails. That's not a real person like sitting behind an email and emailing 10,000 people, right? So they can do this in bulk all day. And again, they have like offices set up just like an office you would see in Seattle. But normally these people are international, the people that are running these scams. And they have business offices set up to receive your text and manage your contacts and work with you to essentially steal your information or your money. So it's kind of crazy, but it's a business model outside of America to steal dollars from US taxpayers or us. So just be aware of that. We'll go through some examples of that today, and we'll look at that together, and we'll have some discussions around that. Another thing you can do is always call the phone number of your financial institution from your bank account or the phone number on your card. So if you ever get a call from the bank and it just doesn't feel right and they don't know enough information about you, but they're pretending to, I would hang up and I would call the bank at a number that you actually know belongs to the bank. And here's the thing, because they can spoof their number, they can go online right now and they can get a phone number and they can put a name on that phone number and call it Chase LLC or something that looks like Chase Bank to give you confidence that if that number calls you, you think that it's Chase if you bank there, or BECU, or wherever you might bank, Bank of America. So that's very easy to do using technology these days. So just be careful picking up the phone and sharing important details about your personal information, or PII, your personally identifiable information. That's the stuff that they need to get a credit card in your name. So what is PII? It's very important, and that's a common word in the I would say the like data security industry. Your PII is your date of birth, your full name, your address, your phone number, your bank account information or your credit card information, and the same information for people that live in your household. So yeah, kids' names, kids, bank account numbers, kids' date of births and social security numbers. All of that stuff is PII, personally identifiable information, and that is information again they can use, and they can even get your kids' information and go open up a credit card. So you want to be very careful anytime you share that information. Make sure you know who you're talking to. Here it says never also give up two-factor authentication codes. So you guys are familiar with the two-factor authentication codes. Those are the codes where, let's say you log into your bank account from a different state. Maybe you're on vacation in Florida and you go to log in your bank account, and because your phone is located in Florida and you normally log in from Washington, the banks have information that says, they're not where we expected them to be. We're going to send you a text message on your phone, and you need to put that in so that you can verify and log into your account. So you never want to give that code away. If you ever get that code and you are not trying to log into your account, that is a red flag that someone is trying to log into your account. And normally it'll say something like it says here, do not share the security code. And this is over here on the right. Let me see here. Yeah, right here. So you can see it says, do not share the security code. Our representatives will never ask for it, only enter it online. So that code is not to be shared. If someone asks you for that code, I would never give that up, okay? Slow down. That's a big one right there. Just slow down. If something feels off, just slow down, take a deep breath, and kind of refresh your mind and see if that helps you to realize what's going on. And again, if there's something going on, you can call them instead of picking up the phone with them calling you. Okay, don't make Zelle transfers to people you don't know. So I was just reading an article. I think it said, was it a billion or a trillion? I can't remember. Anyways, Zelle has kind of become the leader in the money transfer space. I know some of you probably still use Cash App. There's PayPal, but Zelle has really become the most popular one because Zelle is nice because you can go into your bank account at most major banking institutions now, and you can Zelle someone directly from your bank account, and the money will be directly in their bank account, usually within minutes. So you don't have to like, use Cash App where Cash App takes the money out of your bank account, puts it in Cash App, and then you have to transfer it out of Cash App. Zelle is directly in your bank account. So it's a nice service when you need to maybe pay somebody that paid for dinner and you want to like send them some money to pay for your part of the dinner, or maybe someone bought airline tickets for a group and you want to send them your part because they bought your airline tickets, whatever it is. Zelle's really good. But one bad thing about Zelle is when you send money through Zelle, normally once it's gone, it's gone. So there's no reversing it, right? That money's gone. It's in that other person's bank account. And especially if they're a fraudster, once they get it, they're usually pretty smart and they move it out of the bank account they received it in pretty quick. And so one thing I recommend is number one, don't send Zelles to people you don't know. So sometimes you'll maybe anybody ever bought anything on like Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp or anything like that? Anybody ever purchased anything like that where you just like meet somebody in a parking lot and they show you something, you're like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna, pay you cash or whatever. Has anyone ever done that? By hand raises or just you can unmute? Okay. I'm sure that that's a yes. So what you don't want to do when you're purchasing something from a person, an individual, what you don't want to do is sell them before you actually take possession of the thing. So if you go and offer up, a lot of people, have things that are too good to be true price. So let's say you are looking for Xbox for your kids. It's Christmas time. They want a video game, and you say, okay, I'm going to go find them this Xbox. Can't find it in the store. I'm going to go and offer up. Oh, I see one for $200. It's $500 normally in the store. This is a great deal. Oh, but the person is not in Washington, they're in California. They want me to sell them the money, and then they're going to send it in the mail. That's a big no-no. There is no Xbox that costs $200. So one of the indicators is always the price is going to be too good to be true. And this is when you're purchasing from other individuals. The price is always going to be too good to be true. And it's always going to be like, hey, you got to, if you buy today, the price is $200 for the rest of the day. And the first person to send me their money transfer, I'll send it to them in the mail. That's fraud. Like that's obvious. They're just trying to get your money and then go away. Right. So just be careful. One thing I always recommend if you are sending money to people that you know, and this is the first time you've sent them money via Zelle or Cash App, whatever kind of money transfer it might be, I recommend sending $1. I just sent a large sum of money to a family member back in Virginia. I had never sent them money via Zelle, but before I sent that large sum, it was over $1,000. Before I sent them $1. And I said, hey, did you get the dollar? And they said, hold on 1 second. Yes, I got the $1. I said, okay, great. Now I'm going to send you the remaining funds. Why do I do that? Just to make sure, because as you guys know, like if you put in a wrong digit on a phone number, you can be texting or calling the wrong person. If you put in a wrong digit on a bank account, the money goes in the wrong bank account. If you send a Zelle to the wrong handle or the wrong email or phone number, the wrong person is going to get that money, and it's going to be very, very difficult to get that money back. And so I recommend that you send $1 first, and then once they receive it, then send the rest of the money. All right, let's go ahead and move on. All right, so let's talk about phishing here. So what is phishing? Let me clear all my drawings there. Okay, so what is phishing? So phishing is a form of social engineering where attackers deceive people into revealing sensitive information, sometimes also using malicious software called malware. So anybody ever had like a laptop or a computer and error messages are always popping up, or like pop-ups are showing up, or advertisements, and you're like, why does this keep showing up? I keep closing it and it keeps popping back up. That's because you have malware on your computer. And malware can steal your information while you're using the computer. So it can record your keystrokes also. So as you're typing, or maybe you're on Amazon.com or another website and you're entering your information, your address, your phone number, your shipping address, your credit card number, it can actually record your keystrokes as you're typing. And then if again you have malware on your computer, now the bad actors out there have your information. And so having malware on your computer is very, very dangerous. There are anti-malware softwares out there that you can get. But again, it's very hard to get it off. So sometimes you may want to think about just getting a new computer, or getting if you get Apple devices, they actually are really good at not getting malware. They're probably some of the best, which is why people like Apple products, because they tend to not get viruses on them. So what is a phishing attack again? It's those random text messages and emails that go out. And so we're going to look at some examples here in a minute. How bad is the problem? So this is some information from the FBI, the IC3.gov, which is the Internet Crimes Complaint Center, IC3.gov, and they collect information on all the different cyber attacks that are happening out there. As you can see, there's like tech support stuff, there's extortion, there's non-payment or non-delivery. So that's where you like pay for something, but it doesn't get delivered. There's personal data breaches, so that's your PII information we were talking about. And then there's phishing, and phishing is just used to gather information or your, again, your financial information. Obviously, we can see here that phishing is by far the biggest issue that is out there, right? So right here, this one right here, phishing. So that one we got to be careful of. By far, this one, even combining all of these, it looks like phishing is probably bigger even combined, okay? All right, phishing scheme, the fraudulent practice of sending emails and so forth. Yep, we covered that. I want to go ahead to the next one so we can get to some examples. So here's an example that I had back in 2022. I received this text message. What does this mean? When you get a text message and it has the phone number at the top, what does that mean? Anybody? And it doesn't have a name. What does that mean?
Contact.
It means that this person has never like maybe they've contacted you, but you've never saved this phone number as someone that you were going to be in regular communication with, right? So normally, if you have been in contact with someone, you save their phone number to your phone. So the next time you want to call, Becca, you don't have to find her phone number. You just go in your phone, you go to your contacts, you type in Becca, and you hit call, right? So that means you have saved their number as a contact in your phone. Here, if this is a person that's text messaging me, this means I don't have this number saved in my phone. So that's a clue. That's clue number one that something's wrong, is you're getting a text message from someone that is not in my contacts. And then let's look at this one and see if we see anything wrong. So it says BOA online. BOA typically stands for Bank of America. You requested a change of credentials. If this wasn't you, please visit yourbofaonline.org /verify. And you can see that my response, I kind of play with these people sometimes. I said, wrong answer, bro. So that was my answer to them. What do you guys see wrong with that text message? Do you see anything wrong with this text? Anything suspicious about it? Other than the phone number not being in my contacts, what else do we see wrong with this? Anybody? What would you expect? What is Bank of America's actual website? Does anyone know?
Bankofamerica.com.
.com. What is
Yeah,
the
I thought
website that
that
they're sending you to?
verify at the end is questionable.
Right, it's questionable. And then Bank of America .org. .org is reserved for nonprofits, and like youth organizations, maybe a school, but or even like a credit union, right? BECU.org, right? But here, bankofamerica.org, Bank of America is not an organization, it's a commercial organization. So a .com is a business that is for profit. Okay. Amazon.com, Target.com, FredMeyer.com, all for profit businesses. Nonprofits might have a .org or something else. But in this case, your Bank of America, your BofAonline.org, that's not Bank of America. There's no way. So I did not reply to this. Obviously, I just kind of played with them and then I deleted it. As you guys know, here's another example from January 31st. Someone texted me and they said, "Pardon me, my name is Joel. I want to inform you about a recent role that could align with your skills. Is it a good time to chat?" These have grown in population, the job offer ones, right? Because everything is expensive these days. Housing is expensive. Now they're talking about tariffs and things. The food is extremely expensive right now. Energy is expensive, and so a lot of people are looking to make more money. And the bad actors have picked up on that, and so they are taking advantage of that. And they text people and say, "Hey, I got a job for you. You can make more money." And they're getting people to reply to that. It's been very effective. What can you do if you receive a text like this and you think it's junk? I would encourage you to do this. So right here it says this sender is not in your contact list, report as junk. So this is a nice function, especially if you have an iPhone. I believe it does this also. If you have like Android, where if you get a text message from someone you don't know, you can report it as junk. And then that helps your telephone provider, T-Mobile, AT&T, whoever it might be. It helps them to see if many people report that number as junk, then they will take some additional measures to prevent that number from texting other people going forward. Okay. And so that's your part. That's where you can help protect others is if you get a bad text message, report as junk. That helps the company, again, prevent further loss or damages to other people who might get that text or email. All right, let's look at this one. My son actually got this one today, and I apologize if it's a little small. I'll read it to you guys. I'm not going to read who it was from, but I want to read it first. So it says, and my son is 13 years old, right? He just got a phone this year, and he got a text just today, and it said, "We have noticed that your Apple iCloud ID was recently used at an Apple store in California for $143.95." Paid by Apple Pay pre-authorization. Also, some suspicious sign-in requests and Apple Pay activation requests detected. Notice the choppy English. That's the indicator that the person writing this is not American or not at least native, from America, born here, right? That looks like suspicious to us. That's not official. In order to maintain the security and privacy of your account, we have placed those requests on hold. Again, broken English. Your phone, your photos, data, bank information, and cards are at risk. If not you, question mark. And then again, not capitalized T. Talk to an Apple representative. Failing may lead to auto debit and charge will not be reversed. Call +1 and then a number immediately to cancel the charge. Okay. So there's a lot of things wrong here. Does anybody want to point out one of the things that they see wrong? Or two or three? There's many things wrong here. I'll start with my example. The +1. Americans don't put +1 in front of their phone numbers. That's somebody who doesn't live in America. Anybody else?
First off, the C is not capitalized.
Yeah, right here, right? And these banks and these organizations, right? So I work at Amazon. I'm very familiar with how they interact with customers. These organizations have what they call blurbs and little pre-written messages that have the language that they want to be going out to their customers. And then it just changes the information, right? It like changes like maybe it has like, your last four of your card or something like that. But generally, it's a default message and they just change the part that relates directly to you. And so those messages go through a lot of approvals internally at the company. to make sure that that's the message they want to convey to the customer in whatever situation that customer is in. And so it is not likely there's going to be typos in those messages that are going out to their customers because they've been reviewed by a lot of people. And again, there's just not going to be any errors. I would be shocked to see that. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The
Asha
urgency of the matter too.
yeah, it's urgent, right?
Yeah.
That right here, they try to create some urgency. Your
Mm.
photos, your data, your bank information, and your cards are at risk. If not you, question mark. Talk to an Apple representative, and then again, putting more fear into the text message. Failing may lead to an auto debit and charge will not be reversed. So again, creating urgency, right? Asha said up here, the text message came from an email. It came from a Hotmail account. Is a Hotmail account free? Yes, it is.
Yes.
So they set up a free Hotmail account and then they start texting a bunch of people, hoping again, phishing, hoping that if they send that to 1,000 people, maybe 2 or 3 end up following it. And hey, that was effective for them, even if only 2 to 3 people replied and engaged with them. Okay. All right, this is another common thing that we see. We see spoofed websites. So this is the old Amazon.com site. But here you can see that someone spoofed it. Spoof meaning that they take the format and the text, all the stuff that makes you feel like you're at Amazon.com, but they put it on a different website. And then they try to make the address to that website look similar to Amazon. So here, you have AmazonX.com, which is not Amazon. So if you go to AmazonX.com thinking you're at Amazon and you log in with your email and your password, now the people who set this up now have your username and password. So this is a spoofed website. All right, let's look at another example of a spear phishing example. So this one is from Trusted Bank, and it says, "Dear valued customer, Trusted Bank, we've received notice that you have recently attempted to withdraw the following amount from your checking account while in another country, $135. If that information is not correct, someone unknown may have access to your account. As a safety measure, please visit our website via the link below to verify your personal information." Then it has a link, and it says, "Once you've done this, our fraud department will work to resolve the discrepancy. We are happy you have chosen us to do business." Is there anything wrong with this email? This one's a pretty good one. This one's a little bit harder to detect. Do we see anything wrong with this email?
There's no S after the P, HTTPS.
You got it. Pastor Zip is on it today. There's no S after the HTTPS. So that's a problem because that S in HTTPS means that the site is secure and that the information going from your computer to their computer cannot be intercepted and it's encrypted, right? So even if someone did intercept it, it's encrypted and it doesn't mean anything to them, okay? If you don't have the HTTPS right here, it could potentially be intercepted. And why is that a problem? Because they're asking you to visit this website at below link to verify your personal information, social security numbers, date of births, passwords, credit card numbers, things like that. So I would never, ever, ever put any of my personally identifiable information, my PII, into a website that does not have a S in the HTTP, okay? Let's take a look at a couple other examples. These are just old ones that I got over the years here. This is another one where it's like, oh, you want an iPhone 14 Pro. Click this link and go get your prize. And the trick on that particular scenario is they make it look like you won something. Here, you can see down here, Ninja Never Dulled Premium Knife Set, exclusive rewards for you. So they're making me feel like I won something here. And they're saying, just click this link and go redeem your reward. Great. You click the link, and what does it ask for? Hey, you've won a $500 set of knives. We just need you to pay for shipping and handling which is $5.99 minimum, right? We just need you to put in your credit card to pay for the shipping and handling. Well, what just happened when you paid the $5.99 shipping and handling? Number one, they got your credit card now. They got your name. They probably got your address because you gave them your name, your credit card, and your address so they can ship you the knives and your credit card, right? So they have all that information. And number two, there's no knives coming. You didn't win anything. It was just a phishing attempt. It's a way to get people click on the link, put in their credit card to pay the shipping fee, but there's no knives coming. It's actually pretty ingenious. And I guarantee you, if they send that to 1,000 people, at least 5 to 10 of them are going to click the link and put in their credit card to pay for the shipping, right? So that's where you got to be careful with all of that kind of stuff. Okay. Same thing here, more of the same. Again, coming from weird email addresses, .io. Like, what kind of an email is this? It's like a jumbled up info_mfyzr. I wouldn't trust that ever, right? And obviously, same thing on email. You can report things as spam, and that also helps your email service provider eventually protect others also. All right, let's take a look at this one here. So this one is a FedEx package. This is a very common scheme, actually. So this one is is FedEx a trusted company, first of all? Like, when you just see that logo for FedEx there, does that make you like, oh, okay, yeah, like this, they're shipping me something? That's what it's supposed to do, okay? That logo is FedEx. It's intellectual property. The color scheme, the font, the color, all of that. This is owned by FedEx, and bad actors will use logos that make you feel comfortable and like you can trust the email because it's like, from FedEx or it's from UPS or it's from Amazon. Just because you see that logo doesn't necessarily mean you can trust it, right? Because who is this email coming from? admin@americagroup.xyz. Who's that? Why are they sending me FedEx stuff, right? So these are all questions you should be asking yourself when you receive a suspicious email. Is like, first of all, who actually sent the email? Just because it looks legitimate, let's see who actually sent the email. So this one is like, oh, it's Christmas time, right? I received this on December 18th of 2022. And it said, hey, you have one message from us. You have a package waiting for delivery. Use your code to track it and receive it. And then a lot of the times what they do here is it's Christmas time. So you don't even remember what you bought online. You're like, oh, there's a package coming. You click a link and it says, hey, the total postage wasn't paid for this package. We need you to just click this link, pay the extra $2.99 in postage, and then we'll deliver it to you. Again, what do you think they're doing? Once you put in that credit card to pay the $2.99 extra shipping so you can get that package right in time for Christmas, now they got your credit card. And guess what? Usually within hours, that credit card is being used at some random location. I'll tell you guys a story that happened to me even just 2 weeks ago. I was in Auburn, downtown Auburn. I got gas there using my debit card. I had a credit card in my wallet. I didn't use it, but I do remember seeing it when I took out my debit card. So I get gas. I fill up at a gas station I hadn't been to before. Just needed some gas. Went to work, and a couple hours later, I get a text message from Bank of America, and it says, "Hey, did you authorize this charge?" And it was $88 on my credit card. Again, that was still in my wallet, by the way. I didn't drop it. But they used my Bank of America credit card to buy $80 or attempt to buy $80 at Burger King. And Bank of America was like, that doesn't look right. And they canceled the transaction after texting me and asked me if I authorized it. I said no. And then, of course, they canceled the transactions and they canceled my card and they sent me a new card with a new number because obviously that one had been compromised, which is very nice. So one reason that they knew, well, actually, let me ask you guys, does anyone know how they determined that charge was potentially fraudulent?
Because you had used the debit card?
Well, I used the debit card at the gas station, but then somehow my credit card got used at the Burger King across the street. 'Cause I remember the Burger King like was right across the street. I don't know how they got my card or my card information somehow. I'll tell you how the bank knew that it was fraudulent. I allow my banks to see my location on this thing, right? So if there's ever a transaction on a credit card of mine or a debit card, and it's not even close to where my phone is, because the bank can see where my phone is. So if my phone is in Seattle because I'm at work, and then my debit card is being swiped in Auburn, that's a mismatch. Something's wrong, right? Because when do we ever travel without these things? Most of us have our cell phone probably within 2 feet of us right now, right? So if your card is being used in Kentucky, to go back to Pastor Zippy's example, and they can locate your phone because you've authorized them to in your location services on your phone, and they see that you're in Seattle, they should flag that as suspicious. They should. Okay. So that's why sometimes allowing these companies to track your phone and stuff is actually useful, because they can detect fraudulent charges on your card because they see that you're not located where your card is being used, especially if your card was physically swiped, and they can tell when your card was physically swiped versus it was like put in on a online like Amazon.com or something like that. So especially for the physical swipes, once that swipe happens while it's processing, they're probably checking the location of your phone to see if there's a match or a mismatch. If there's a mismatch, you should get an alert. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go through that, Not gonna, okay, this is what I wanted to get to. So let's look at this. This is gonna require some participation on your guys' part. So please help me out. We're gonna look at some websites. I wanna see if we can identify if they're good websites or bad websites. Okay, chase.com. Does that look like a good website or a bad website?
A bad one.
Why?
Because the end there is not supposed to be there.
Exactly. So sending you somewhere, hoping that you think, and I bet you what happened in this case is it's going to look a lot like chase.com. It's probably going to have a username login area where you can put in your username, your password. But guess what? You're not at chase.com. So as soon as you put in your information, the people that created that website now have that information. And what are they going to do with it? They're going to go to chase.com and they're going to try and log in. Okay. How about missionafrica.us? How about this one?
No, it's not.
What's wrong with that one?
There's a one here.
Ah, good catch. Good catch. Yes. This is not an I. This is a one. And that's one of the common ways that they get people is if you look at it really quickly, it looks like missionafrica.us, but it's not. It's M1 shinafrica.us, right? So again, they would attempt to make it look just like the Mission Africa website, and they probably have a button that says, oh, donate here to Mission Africa. And then, of course, are those funds going to Mission Africa? No, it's going to their bank accounts, going to their personal fund, okay? Notification delivery, Amazon18.com.
No.
No, right? It should just be Amazon.com if it's Amazon. Missionafrica.us.
Yeah.
That one looks okay. Gmail.com.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is this Gmail or is this
that looks
Gmail?
like a one.
Is that a 1 or a L?
That's a one.
In
It's a
one.
one.
It's a 1. Yes. That's a hard one. This is a very
Mhm.
hard one to detect, right? You think you're going to Gmail and you put in your username and password. And again, now they've got your Gmail, right? And what's in your Gmail? A lot of personal information, right? Different things that maybe, I don't know about you guys. I email myself all the time, documents or maybe photos that I don't want to lose. A lot of information in your email. How about this one? Freemicrosoftware.ru.
No.
What is .ru?
Business one.
That's a Russian website.
Russian.
You don't want to be on a Russian website. There's no reason to be on there, especially trying to download free software. And this is how they get people. Hey guys, because Microsoft, products, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, etc. You have to pay for those, $100 a year. So what they'll do is they'll set up, free Microsoft software Russia. So if you go to this Russian website, you can download Microsoft for free. Oh, you're going to get some free software, all right. It's going to be malware. And you're going to install it thinking you're getting free Microsoft Word, and they're just going to start using it to steal your information. Okay. Amazon.com.
No.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Capital
no.
One.com.
Yes.
Yeah, that one looks
Yeah,
good.
that's okay.
Netflix.com.
No.
Nah,
What's
too
wrong with this
many
one?
T's
Too
and
many
X.
X. Too
Too many
many
T's and X's.
X's.
Yes, yes. Amazon.com.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
BECUorg.com.
No.
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 Why not?
Because
B,
It's,
B,
wait.
BCU is a commercial, so there's no org.
Yes.
So BECU is actually a nonprofit. They're a credit union. They are nonprofit, but it wouldn't be a org and a .com. It would just be
Either one or the other.
BECU.org. But this is BECUorg.com, right? So again, just kind of flustery, right? But it should be a .org versus a .com. Okay. Marriott.com.
yes.
Yep, I think that one's fine. Apple.com.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. BofA.com.
Double M.
No.
Double M, right? Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
Two
Yep.
dots after W.
And the dots, gmail.com.
That's not Gmail, that's Gmore.
Exactly. Right. You guys are good. Y'all are good. I tried to make these hard, so that's a good catch. NavyFederal.org. which is a
Yes.
credit union. Yeah, that's a credit union. That one is going to be okay. Okay, so what are some of the things to look for, right? A I and a 1, a L and an I, or a L and a 1, a O and a 0. Oh, those are the worst, right? A capital O and a 0 look a whole lot alike, don't they? Okay. So that's a tough one, and you just got to be careful and do your best. All right. If you're a victim of phishing, what do you do? First of all, you can report it to the IC3. So if you just Google IC3 or the FBI Internet Crimes Complaint Center, you can make a complaint there. They're going to ask you for information about what happened, like who contacted you, who emailed you, what phone number texted you, what time did it happen, etc. If they get enough complaints about the same issue, then they will potentially open an investigation and do something. Otherwise, it just helps them collect data on different threats that are happening out there, so they understand what's happening in the community. You can also change your account credentials to a unique password and utilize two-factor authentication. If you're ever a victim of hey, you get a fraudulent credit card and then it gets caught, that's great. I would also recommend that you change your online username and password on that account because it's probably been compromised. Okay. As best as you can, you want to have unique passwords for as many of your accounts as possible. Because if a bad actor gets your username and password at your bank and you have the same one on your email and the same one on other credit cards, now they have access to multiple accounts. So another way to prevent that, again, is try to have unique passwords as much as possible. Your passwords should include letters and numbers, so alphanumeric, right? And normally it makes you do that. It also makes you have a capital letter, maybe a lowercase letter, a number, and usually like a special character. Those are all good suggestions. And then monitor your personal financial accounts on a regular basis. By raise of hands, who here has reviewed every bank account statement for every bank account that you own in the last 30 days? Like you look at every single transaction, you know exactly what's coming out of your bank account. I have not. I'm
I
guilty.
have.
Good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Most people haven't,
Oh, no.
and fraudsters have learned that. And what they've learned is if I just charge $5.99 to your bank account every month, it'll probably go unnoticed.
Mm-hmm.
And they might do it for years. Okay.
Wow.
If they're doing that to thousands of people a year, they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and they're not doing anything. But somehow they got your credit card and they slipped in a little $5.99 charge and they made it recurring. So it hits your account every month and you don't even realize it because it's only $6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is something, again, I encourage you, take some time. It's tax season. You're probably doing that anyway. And go through your accounts and just make sure there's no charges on there that you don't recognize. If they are, call your bank, let them know.
Mm. Mm.
All right, and then some last things on preventing being scammed. Don't install software, or especially like free software. Nothing's really free, okay? If you're getting free software, it likely is because they're getting something else of value from you, like your information, right? So just be careful of those. Ensure the URL of websites you're going to and visiting are legitimate. Use two-factor authentication. And again, going back to the Zelle example, just make sure before you send
About
you send $1 first.
10 minutes.
And yeah, it's 7 o'clock. I know
Yeah,
we're at
do
time.
that.
Let me see. I think that was my last slide. Yep, that was my last slide. I'll stop sharing. Does anybody have any questions about what we talked about?
Yes,
Go
that's
ahead.
what these have said.
I'm sorry. Did someone have a question?
Mm.
No. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so one last time, I'm just going to put this into the chat. There is a financial literacy training that is free. I highly recommend that you all take the time to register and attend. They are on Zoom and they have classes available right now. The registration is open and it's going to be open, and the classes are all the way from now until April. So I really hope that you guys take the time to invest in yourself, learn some new financial literacy skills, so that as you continue to progress in your own individual careers, making money is great, but knowing what to do with it is just as important. All righty. I hope this helped, guys. Next week, I'll be teaching SQL. SQL is a language, a computer language, to extract information from databases, and it's used in most large organizations these days to, I would say, direct decision making based on data. So it's going to be a very useful class. It'll be very entry level. Yes, the classes are recorded. Let me give you the location where you can find our classes. Just 1 second. I want to stop the recording actually for now.